Hi everyone, this is how I do my blanket stitch, and I am connecting my front to the back of my little mummy, isn't he cute, ornament. Now this is a stitch that I use often. However, I do it a little differently because I start out with a starter stitch. I also like to begin, and I like to begin on one side of my cord and then go all the way around and finish at that cord. So the starter stitch, you're going to begin with placing your needle to the inside of your back piece. I'm going to go here in the center. Let me just make sure I'm on one side, and I'm going to then bring my needle all the way through, as you see, okay? And at the distance that I want to keep consistent as I go around. Now, I also have a little bit of a knot at the end of my floss here. And in this case, I am using 3 strands. So you're going to bring that thread all the way through. I brought it all the way through. Now, this is why I call it a starter stitch. You're going to now take and simply place your needle through the front and out through the same hole you just created. Okay, bringing those together. This is my starter stitch to the blanket stitch. Okay, so I have 1 stitch there. From here, you're going to now place your needle through the back at the distance that you want to maintain throughout. Now, here's a little trick. You see my finger here? I have 2 lines. I'm going to place 1 line right on it, and then I measure bringing my needle through to that other line. You're going to bring it all the way through, well, almost all the way through. You see how you have that little loop here, right there? You're going to come through the front of that loop, and you're going to pull. And now you've created your first blanket stitch. To continue, once again, moving your thumb down a little bit, measuring through that line, you're going to bring it. When you bring your needle through the loop, make sure that the loop is like so. Sometimes the loop will cross, and if you bring your needle through a crossed loop, it's not going to have a nice line. So undo, make sure that the loop doesn't have any twist in it. Bring your needle through the loop and pull. And there's the blanket stitch. You have a nice line on the top. When you come to a place and you don't have any more thread, make sure that you have enough there that you could create a little bit of a knot. I like to tie off by placing my needle through that front part, creating a knot. So here I've created a knot, and then you could then cut, create a little bit of a tail if you should have one, and that way you could place that underneath and it could be smooth. Okay? When you begin again with a new line of thread, make sure once again you create a little bit of a knot at the end, just like so. And do the same starter stitch. Go through the back, create a starter stitch, going through basically the same hole you just came through. Okay, and you begin again measuring out and bringing needle through, creating a hoop. Again, make sure that it's not twisted, and then continue. Thanks for joining me today.